Good evening, everyone. Well, good early morning, everyone. T-Speaker 222XRP Future Millionaire with the side bet on XM and Future Digibyte OG. So, guys, the conclusion of the Wyckoff schematics. This is part 4 of 4. We're going to roll through this real quick, guys. We've already done all of this. We did this. We did schematic 3. We did the ice story. And now we're going to do the conclusion. So I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning into the overnight radio show. It's supposed to be 7 days a week, rain or shine, 24/7. But when I have to go over charts, when we have critical crashes in the crypto market specifically, I have to cover it. So we were on top of it as always. So I hope you enjoyed the overnight radio show, 3:42 a.m., 7 days a week, aside from if we have an emerging crash that I have to cover to get us in the best spots to do what we had to do like today. So on this one, they're covering the Nokia chart. So let's get through this. I know we got a lot of stuff. We're busy, so I need to be on the TA side of things, but I want to get through this. Tomorrow, we're going to be starting Basel 3. I'm going to go through the information. We're going to go through the breakdown. I'm doing it specifically for Ken. He's been asking me about it. The Wyckoff, I did specifically for Brandon because we talked about it a lot. I mean, I did it for other people, but this is basically dedicated for Brandon, the Wyckoff, as you guys know. So here we go. So this part, stupid PDF always wants to go back because I'm trying to go in close enough for you guys to see. So Nokia's decline was stopped by the selling climax, automatic rally. What the fuck was that? Oh shit. It's all the way back at the top. But guys, like I said, definitions are important, and we're going to do this until we get it right. Automatic reaction. So automatic reaction and secondary test during automatic rally AR. So during July and August 2004, this sequence of stopping action helped to form a small base of accumulation that in turn helped to propel Nokia upward to the resistance level around $110. Thereafter, there was a prolonged period of backing and filling on the chart. Bearish forces remain in control. Just watch the chart as I'm reading, guys. Bearish forces remained in control as seen by the line of floating supply around the 110 level. So let's try to pay attention to that. You see where the 110 level is? However, another lesser breach of the creek was formulated by the dominance of supply over demand during the intermediate down channel that occurred during late 2004 when Nokia's stock price declined from about 115 down to under 100 in early 2005. The Boy Scout was cognizant of these developments as he would have been following along the edge of the creek around the 110 level so as to judge best the relative powers of supply and demand. Earlier, he would have been following the minor creek as it flowed downward under the weight of the supply for 115 to below 100. Then near the end of the floating, or the year 2004 and early 2005, the Boy Scout, my cat just walked by, I thought it was an animal, holy shit. The Boy Scout would have sensed that the floating supply was drying up. He would have noticed the narrowing price range, the diminishing volume, and the absence of material price progress on the downside. It was at that point that he said to himself, now if I back way up to make a good run for it, I bet I can jump across the creek. In the process of backing up, he causes price to drop below minor support in around 105. Also in this process, the remaining bears floating supply are flushed out of the market as evidenced by the downward gap in price that exhausts the supply. A Wyckoff spring thus occurs. Note the wide price spread of about 10 points in the Nokia climb, as Nokia climbs from around 98 to 108. More significantly, note the very significant expansion in the volume that accompanied that 10-point upward move in price. That large volume day is where the jump occurred. Thus, we also know that is where the edge of the meandering minor creek occurred. In other words, this successful jump across the creek was also a sign of strength. I'm going to say the jump across the creek was also a sign of strength A long position could have been initiated during the pullback testing following the jump across the creek at around 104, with the protective stop loss ordered entered below the support level, around $95. In practice, such a long is not typically entered by a student of the Wyckoff method because it is evident that the major branch of the creek still lies ahead, and that's the position we're in right now. After jumping the lower and lesser branch of the creek, the Boy Scout continues upward to the vicinity around 115, where earlier he had found the flow of supply too fast and too deep to jump across. Here again in early 2005, around the $115 price level. The creek creates a squiggly wiggly line of resistance along the peak prices of the recovery rally, or slightly above the 110 price level of Nokia. However, this time things are different. The Boy Scout observes that the volume is shrinking and the price level is narrowing. The Boy Scout is witness to a drying up of the floating supply, creating the edge of the major creek / major resistance level just above 110. As in the instance of his earlier preparation to jump across the minor creek, the Boy Scout again creates a spring as he backs up the 100 level. A relative increase in upwards price spread, coupled with a notable expansion in the level of volume mark, where the Boy Scout jumped the major creek. But by the time the propulsion of the jump had dissipated, the Boy Scout would have been temporarily tired out by the exertion of jumping across the creek. Hence, we would logically anticipate that he would rest and consolidate his strength. He does so by backing up to the edge of the creek, backing up end of creek. At this point, we observe further confirmation that supply has been exhausted and demand is in the control. The pullback comes on a relatively smaller price spread and shrinkage of volume. It's shrinkage, I swear, it was cold. Jerry, tell him it's cold in there. The water was cold, Jerry. It's shrinkage. It's normal. We shrink. I love that episode with Jerry Seinfeld. Anyway, back to serious. The pullback comes on a relatively smaller. Consequently, it is exhausted in demand, blah, blah, blah. Shrinkage of volume, thus showing the supply cannot regain control. Consequently, it is now safe for the trader or investor to enter a long position in the vicinity of 110 and 115 and to place a sell stop order just below the 100 level. New schematic accumulation 3. Gradient of ascending bottoms. The chart below depicts a newer added schematic for accumulation. We wish to name the accumulation gradient of rising bottoms. The new schematic is an attempt. Man, this guy would like I like big butts, and I will not lie. This guy would like. Let's continue. This new schematic is an attempt to fill an obvious gap in the conceptual body of the Wyckoff method. In brief, there are currently 2 schematics for distribution, but only 1 schematic for accumulation. The new schematic for accumulation is a counterpart to the schematic for distribution that features ascending price peaks. Richard D. Wyckoff and his associates time and again pointed out the power of ascending bottoms and a base of accumulation or reaccumulation. They also underscored on numerous occasions the efficiency of a pattern distribution composed of descending price peaks. Current schematic number 2. Interesting. The logic for ascending bottoms amid descending peaks is rooted in the concept of the composite operator. Within a trading range, the composite man is seen to accumulate a line of stock from the public, who becomes especially frightened during the down thrust. The composite man is willing to play the short side of the market as well during the trading range of accumulation, so long as he can abstract a public following of sellers. But as the trading range proceeds, the new schematic reveals that fewer and fewer sellers remain to propel stocks downward in price. As a consequence, the down waves become shorter and shorter in length. The bottoms rise, and the composite man, as a result, accumulates an increasing line of stock. Ultimately, there is little left of sellers to coax to the downside, and so the composite man reverses attention and spurs prices upward and out of the trading range. A markup campaign now gets underway, led by the composite man. Elsewhere, Pruden has conducted studies of market behavior with the aid of the cusp catastrophe theory from mathematics / behavioral finance. That theory shows accumulation dissipative gradients and accumulation gradients that occur when a trading range just prior to buying stampede or a selling panic. Our label of accumulation gradient for the new schematic was in large part inspired by the cup catastrophe model of market behavior. Moreover, the literature of catastrophe theory describes how the managers of we're gonna have to go into the literature of catastrophe theory. Describes how the managers of an unstable situation will keep things in a close proximity until the marginal regional support has been exhausted. This phenomenon is known as the delay rule and the Maxwell rule, followed by the Maxwell principle. Guys, I actually do want to go into the Maxwell rule and the Maxwell principle, so that will be something we'll cover on the overnight radio show. Somebody just needs to remind me in a few days. Thus, the observations of Wyckoff. Imagine all these hard words I've been reading, and observations, the one that gives me the hardest trouble. Then I'll be damned. Thus, the observations of Wyckoff, the logic behind the composite man, and the models for catastrophe theory combined to buttress our addition of new schematic for accumulation to complete the conceptual body of the Wyckoff method in regard to the schematics, a powerful visual tool for Wyckoff analysis. So that was fantastic, guys. I want to thank each and every one of you for going through the Wyckoff. I will be releasing probably this PDF in our community. If you want a hands-on look at this, join Tom's Army, or I can just, you send me, I'll send you it in your email. I'm not going to make you pay to get this. This is something everybody should have, and it's free for you to get anyhow. So, T-Speaker 222 XRP Future Millionaire with the side bet on XM and Future Digibet OG. Stay true, stay blessed, and remember, guys, every night, 3:42 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday through Sunday, rain or shine, or unless we have a emerging catastrophe on the hands or a major breakout, as we did last night on the downward. So 3:42 a.m. overnight radio show. So if you guys are just getting up or just going to work, drive safe. If you're going to bed, sleep well, and I will see you guys tomorrow night or tomorrow morning on Friday, 3:42 a.m. Grab your cup of coffee or grab your sleeping pills. Stay true and stay blessed.